Okay, can you guys hear me well? Okay. What makes these talks good is people clap when speakers come up on stage, because with speakers like me, you never know what's going to happen to the end. So it's good that people clap when they come on stage. And what I want to talk to you guys about is I want to take you back to a year where most of you don't want to go. That's 2008, because nobody wants to lose money again. But we'll go back to 2008 and see a dream that was built then and what I'm realizing now. So in 2008, if you were to meet me in 2008, I would even trip off a flat surface. I was so bad. No matter what I did, it just didn't seem to work. I had to take, no matter what exam I took, I had to take it minimum 3 times even just to clear the exam. I was losing friends all over the place. I have no connection to my school friends even now. Even though my family had all the faith in me, they had their own doubts. Where is this guy going? I mean, I was to a point where I even quit my education, and there was supposed to be a grocery shop in my name, and I would be making my living in that shop. So it was really, really bad, and I just didn't know where to go. But what I want to tell right now is, coming to 2016, you see me here in the United States at Bentley University. In a year's time, I'll be having my 3 master's degrees done. Very recently, I got the opportunity to be the president for the students here at Bentley, and I'm giving a TED Talk today. What I want to take you guys through these 8 years is how I could transition from being a near nobody to at least something in the year 2016. This was just to make sure that I substantiate about what I'm talking. It has actually worked for me, what I'm talking right now. And these might seem very dreamy, because the topic itself is about dreams, but trust me, these things do work when you try to do them actually. The first thing that I want to talk to you guys about is the dream of not having a dream. This is a kind of a story that I learned from my cousin, and it's a very small anecdote, and I'm sure that there'll be something that you'll connect to in this. My cousin's name is Veer, and he studies back in India. This happened when he was about 12 or 13 years old, and this is the time exactly when I was struggling with everything in life. And he had this essay to be written in his school, and his teacher had asked him to write about what dream do you have in life. And it was an overnight essay. He took it home. He just kept on writing everything that he could think of. I mean, he wanted to be an engineer first. He wanted to be a research scientist. He wanted to have his own company. He wanted to own a sports team. Everybody in India wants to have a sports team. So he just wrote everything that he wanted to do in life, and it just went on to become an essay of 8 or 10 pages, and he took it back to his teacher the next day. Every other child had written an essay of about 1 or 2 pages that I want to be this and that. And the teacher went like, this is not good. What have you written? Do you even know where you live and where you come from, and we want to do all these things? She just gave him a fail grade for that essay, and he was so disheartened. Everybody else who wrote like a page or 2, they were all going good. They were getting great grades. And my cousin, he came back home and he was talking to his father, and he said, why could this have happened? I mean, why did the professor give me a fail grade for my dream? And my uncle he's a smart man. He didn't want to pose a judgment on his child. He said, it depends on you, Veer. You have your dream in your hand. You have somebody who has graded your dream. The choice is yours. And he just left him to that. And my uncle was telling me the story of what happened after that, and he said, he literally sat with the dream for the whole night that day, and whole night, and he was reading his dream again and again, trying to find where the flaw was. Why did the professor give him a fail grade? He kept on reading it for the whole night. I mean, he just couldn't find anything that was wrong, because he completely believed in everything what he had written in the dream. He knew that he wanted to do all of them. He just did not find anything that was wrong. So he went back the next day to the professor. He tore a piece of that essay that he had written. It was that part where the professor had graded as fail. He tore it apart, gave it to the professor, and said something that when my uncle told me, he was 12 years old when he said that, I was like, wow. You know what he said to the professor? He gave the grade and said, you keep the grade, I'll keep my dreams. He wanted to do them. He just wanted to have those dreams to be accomplished. He just said, you keep your grade, I'll keep my dreams. And today, to be very honest, he's studying engineering in a top college in Bangalore. He is doing his engineering right now. And what I learned when I heard this story from my uncle was, it's not important about tying yourself to a dream. It might not be just one dream. You might want to do 100 things in life, and that's fine. That's completely fine. You just don't have to tie yourself to one dream. To come out of story and give you a real example where people don't tie themselves to one dream, I'll give you a few examples. Why do you think that, only a few people come to your mind when you think of certain things? Like when I talk about tennis, why people think of Roger Federer only? Or maybe Serena Williams. When you think of Olympics, why do we think of Michael Phelps as the greatest Olympian of all time? When you think of athletics, why does Usain Bolt stand out as the fastest man on earth? These people have something in common. All of them are talented, for sure. Most of us are talented. Everyone has one of their talents. But what differentiates these people from others is they don't do it to become successful. I'm just trying to give you how this happens. They don't do it to become successful. The difference is they do it for success. The context is different. They know they will be successful. Why they do it is, what do they do when they become successful? They perfect the path of becoming successful. They don't do it to become successful. Yes, I want. If that was the case, Roger Federer would win two titles and then settle down. Usain Bolt would do the one gold medal and then settle down. They don't do it for that. They don't do it. They do it to for success. When they become successful, what do? They perfect the path of becoming successful. They reiterate the very act of doing their job. And I'll give you an example when he is not a very glorified athlete right now, but in one of his interviews, Lance Armstrong had once said that he was asked, when you win these number of races, cycling races, how do you feel? I mean, the Tour de France, you won 6-7 times. Before he was stripped off his titles, he answered this. He was asked, how do you feel and what happens when you do that? I mean, what is the drive? How do you win it on that day in July, someday the race ends? And Lance Armstrong had said, it's not on that day that I win the race. It's maybe I cycle on the month and win it on that particular day. It's not on that day that I win the race. It's that every cold morning when I get up and go out to practice, when everybody else chooses not to. Those are the days when I win the race. That's just the result. It's going to happen no matter what. It doesn't matter if I had a little bit of more effort into it. But when I actually win it is the days when I go out and practice when nobody else wants to do it. That is the kind of difference that people have. And the question that when I tell people that, this is why people do this is why some people become more successful and some don't. They ask me, how do you get that determination then? How do people make sure that you get to that level of determination? Because it's only determination that differentiates these successful people from the others. The talent is there with everyone. How do you differentiate yourself from, how do you become that much more determined? There's another very small story that I always tell people about determination, about two people that I very closely know, but I cannot give out their names, but I'll tell you the story of what happened. Tim and Kevin were very close friends from the childhood. They just couldn't live without each other, but they were so different from each other. Tim and Kevin were completely opposites. Tim was this weak, geeky guy who was always in front of the laptop and coding stuff for people. Kevin was this football champ in the college. He was the hefty guy. And these people were close friends. They just had this thing for each other. They had this close connection. And they went to skiing one day up in the mountain. And Kevin had this fall from the cliff, and he just tripped off. He just fell down. And Tim had to make sure, they were isolated in that mountain. And Tim was the only person who could actually save Kevin from that moment. But if you look at Tim, he was somebody who couldn't even lift a full bag of chocolate. He couldn't even do that. But he was the only guy who could do it. And then when Tim realized that, oh my God, this is on me now. I got to pick this guy up. So he did it. He had this rope around him. So he gave that rope to Kevin. He pulled him up. His gloves tore off. His hands started bleeding, but he held on to it. He pulled Kevin up to an extent, but then Kevin could help himself and come up, and they came back home. And they were scolded so much by everyone when they came back home. All their parents, their uncles, their aunts, and they were like screaming, "What the hell do you guys think you're doing there? Can't you take more precautions? Why did you go there alone? Didn't you inform anyone?" They started scolding, and they started doubting that actually these things happened and they didn't mess up with some bad guys. They started thinking they fought with someone and came. So they were scolding the kids very badly. And then there was this elderly person in the family who came in, and he started speaking with the kids. He just spoke to both of them and tried to understand what happened. And then he said, I know Tim could do it. Tim has done it. This is what they are saying is the truth. So just leave them alone. And he just sent everyone else out. And their father came up and asked the elderly person, why did you do that? Why do you think that these kids actually went through this problem? And do you even think that Tim can even lift a half of Kevin? And how do you think these are telling the truth? They might have done something wrong. Why did you let them go? We should know what they have done. We don't want to have a problem with people outside. So the elderly person said that, there is the situation in which those guys were. Tim could actually do it for one reason. Put yourself in the shoes of Tim. Think about what you want to do in life and be in that situation. When will you do those things? There was nobody near them to tell Tim that he cannot do it. There was nobody anywhere around to tell Tim that this is not possible for you to do. Not even himself. He didn't have the choice to think that he cannot do it because he had to save him. And what determination comes when you know that you don't have anything else to do in life. Oh my God, see, this is what I mean when I say I'm messed up always. Anyways. This is what I mean when I say that the level of determination depends when people... Oh, see? This is completely on me. When I came on stage, it had to happen. Anyways. Okay. I was talking about determination, and yes, you just have to make sure that you don't disregard criticism. I don't mean just shove them off, but make sure that you know what you want to do in life. That is the kind of determination that I talk about when I say be determined. And what message I'd want to leave you guys with is the whole idea of me coming up here was to tell you that it is about how you prepare yourself. I mean, there will be people who will tell you, success comes like this, success comes in that way. In the end, if you can sit back, think about yourself and your life and work on yourself to make yourself better, you will be that someone who can, no matter where you are in life, you can come up if you prepare yourself. There are a couple of lines that I always believe in and reiterate my mind on those things. Some of you will understand if I say it in the actual language. It's actually in Urdu, and I'll also give you the translation of what it means before I end it. In Urdu, it goes like, "Khudi ko kar buland itna ki har takdeer se pehle khuda bande se ye पूछे bata teri raza kya hai." In English, it means raise yourself to such a level that before granting fortune, even God asks you, what do you want? Thank you.